Yeah, what are we doing now?
Hey, how you doing? Just talking about how I made the songs in the Going Through It album, which is out now everywhere on all the streaming platforms. The lyrics are on there, all of that. This one is gonna be a threefer. I'm talking about what I've dubbed the Pressure EP. I never released it as an EP, but it was on SoundCloud as an EP when I finished the songs and was about to perform them and stuff. This video gonna be about Pressure, Good Vibrations, and Jungle. So back in the beginning, like right at the end of April, in the last week of April, one of my bros was like, yo, I got a performance opportunity. You can put together a set list and just perform for however long you want. And I was just like, huh? You mean like put together a set list of my music? He was like, yeah. I was like, oh. This was my first time ever performing my music. But I've been performing like music-wise, me singing, playing instruments, because I was in band and chorus, dancing, doing talent shows. I was in a musical at one point. So I've been like accustomed to performing different songs, different music or whatever. There's always the antsiness or whatever that comes before it because you wonder how it's gonna go. But the concept of going through that whole process of being antsy to going and performing and then being done with the performance, like I'm familiar with that. But this was my first time ever performing things that I made. So I put together a set list. I started putting together a set list, but I knew I wanted to perform probably these couple of songs. And I also had it in my mind that I was getting ready to put an album together, so I was thinking of those things together while I was putting the set list. So what happened is I brought in these two beats from my beat tape from 2021. The beat tape is called Satisfactory Oscillations because I wanted to be different, because I wanted to call it Good Vibes, but I didn't want to say Good Vibes because everybody says Good Vibes. So I said Satisfactory Oscillations, and that was the beat tape. And that's the title track is the one that I took. Hey, it's editing Seb. So what's funny is I said like I didn't want to just call it Good Vibes. So what happens is I didn't want to just call it Good Vibes, but so I called it Satisfactory Oscillations. But then what happens is when I write songs, so like I will make the beat, name it based off how it feels, and then we'll write the lyrics based off the name, like whatever image the name or whatever like concept, whatever things will stem from the concept that comes from the name of the thing. I ended up just calling it Good Vibrations anyway. It was a nice little wop to wop to wop sequence. Anyway, back to it. That one and the other one called Jungle. Jungle is one of my favorite beats that I've ever made. I would listen to that beat and Satisfactory on like just by themselves as instrumentals because I love them so much. They're great. And I brought them in when I was getting ready to put my set list together, or when I was putting my set list together, but they were just beats. And I knew I wanted to perform them. I had the instinct that I wanted to perform them, but I didn't. They were just beats, so I was just like, let me go ahead and write to them real quick. I will see what happens, see what comes out. 1, 2. For the next 4 hours, it's just writing. Wrote Satisfactory and Jungle. Just right there. And it's crazy. It's wild because I have been wanting to write to both of those and thinking about what I would say if I wrote to both of those beats for the past 4 years. Every time I listen back to them, I'm like, I want to write to this. I even tried to show it to somebody. Was like, yeah, see, like I want to see what you do with this. See if I could bounce an idea off of somebody. They said they liked it. I sent it to them. They never done anything. So then it comes time for this, and bump, just because I decided to. Okay, all right. So I wrote those, recorded them that night, did some mixing on them, and then did mixing on them the next morning. And yeah, they were done. I think I had to touch them up like maybe 1 or 2 times when I was putting them in the set list of the album, but yeah. But Pressure I had done that one like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, what happened was I was in a relationship and shorty I was with graduated, and they was telling her and all of her compatriots that graduated with her, like at the graduation, it was just like, we are like, the whole world is on your shoulders and you hold the fate of the future in your hands, and the world is depending on you to do good. And then when we got back to her family, they said the same thing, like, all of our eyes are on you for good, which is a nice sentiment. But then it's a nice sentiment, it's well intentioned, but it still causes there to be pressure for you to do something great or grand or something. I thought of that and I was like, that can be so destructive, and I see it be destructive. I watch all these different people who have the pressures of like being the first one of immigrant families to go to college, or being, if they're not immigrants, they're just here, the first ones from their family to go to college, or even if they're not the first one, they still like have a legacy to upkeep, or any number of variation of situations where there is just simply a pressure to be successful, where you don't really end up having much room to just stop, rest, figure out, decide, have an intuition, or anything. Everything is push and continual push. Don't lose momentum or else you won't get it back. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what I was addressing in this song, Pressure, because the purpose is to be one with yourself, know yourself, have knowledge of other folks, and know God. That is it. Systems are in place, such on and so forth. Those systems are not the point. The point is your humanity. That is what the point of this song is. That's what the message of the song is. There was a day that we were celebrating with the family, and then the time of the celebration was over, and then I went back home. Even that morning, like while we were still there, and before we said goodbye and went separate ways, I had an idea in my head. It was just like, wow, 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 wow. And then I had that in my head the whole day. Then so when I got back home that evening, that was what I did. I made that beat and put all the things to it. I actually just added that stop. I reached all them goals that y'all set for me. Stop. Am I winning now? I just added that like probably the day that I uploaded the album to release. But yeah, so that day I made that beat, went down into the lower level of the house and recorded the vocals, and that's it. And the song has just been sitting on my SoundCloud for all that time, needing to be remixed, and then I remixed it and was done. You know what I'm saying? As for the messages of Good Vibrations and Jungle, I think maybe like it was good that it took me these 4 years to write those, because they ended up being about what they're about now. I don't know if y'all remember that track Reflection that I released a couple months ago, but even with that song, I had the idea that I wanted to make a song that was positive self-talk and positive affirmations. I continued in that vein with these two, and really that was it, like coming with the understanding that I gained now, speaking positive and speaking positivity over myself so that I can have something to chant. And I really have a chant in the end of Jungle. Like, it's great. So Good Vibrations is the only like club banger song I ever had. And this is also within the same trend that I talked about in my video for Ouch, where I talked about mumbling and getting into the feel of the song and mumbling, and that creating like a creative amorphous cloud that forms start to come out of, the words start to come out of, and I write from there. With Good Vibration, it was just like, with it, bounce with it. That's like just something that I like to say. Bounce with it till they go to town with it. Hey, bounce with it till they go to town with it. And I'ma step to the left, bring it right around with it. Hey, and I just did that, and then everything else, it just be whatever is on the heart at the time, and that's what's come out. If it's a matter of trust, then it's a love and effort. Realize love is the key to unlock yourself. Yeah, that's what was on the heart, so that was what came out. Same thing with Jungle. In the jungle been stumbling, a little bit of tectonic rumbling. I've been whispering, mumbling a little bit. Little bit worried, I fumbling, literal tears fall tumbling, self-development humbling, That was the mumble. That was what came out, and that's what I wrote, and that's what I left on. Good Vibrations is just talking about my time in therapy with my therapist and just by myself, and the things that I got from that, and the things that I'm at where I'm at now. Jungle is talking about how my life has been as of these past few years, being in a place of danger and uncertainty where even though like I haven't always been in danger, I've just been in places where I haven't felt safe intellectually and spiritually, and then also not also like having an issue with where I'm gonna live, all the while going through all of this stuff that I have, you know, these symptoms and whatnot that I have. Symptoms as far as being like self-diagnosed ADHD, autistic. Regardless of who believes that to be a valid thing or not, I know my own experience, so hey. So dealing with that, and then dealing with the emotional pressure, the emotional detractors, looking at myself, looking at my relationships with people, and then dealing with the needs and the other needs, and everything is like needs to be handled, or else needs to be handled a certain way by a certain time in a certain amount of money, hundreds of dollars, probably thousands of dollars, or else all of that. So never feeling safe, always feeling like there is a constant demand for action, decisive, consistent, and never with it, and there's always an ultimatum, and that is not a safe place to be. So I just have been in a place of confusion where I'm not safe, and I'm also dealing with emotional issues that cause the body to shut down. Never feeling like I have a experience that's justified, because whenever I try to talk about my experience, there's something that validates it, there's something that doesn't, and the thing that doesn't always seems more trustworthy. Pain always seems much more trustworthy than a peaceful allowance, because even the peaceful allowance doesn't go without accountability, you know what I'm saying? But because it's not demanding, it seems like it's wrong. But all that being said, no safety, and having to decide myself, not find myself, but decide myself, like it has to be self-generated. Deciding what myself is and what will define me on my own, not by abstract concepts, not by other people's definitions, not by my upbringing or my or culture, not by societal thoughts or standards or anything, just self-generated. Not saying never take any influence from the outside, but the main voice of my own life has to be myself, and then the dialogue is between me and God. You know what I'm saying? Humans wise, the main voice in my life has to be myself, and the main dialogue in my life has to be me and God. So I have to quiet everybody else. And that's a process, because there's a lot of traumatic thought tangle, ideas that feed each other, and then other ideas that justify those and detract from opposition of those ideas. Also, like, none of these ideas are true, or like this one is but this one isn't, and the way that these two interact, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of stuff to work through. But there's an affirmation at the end of the song of what I decide, and the hope is to get to the point where I am that and don't have to affirm it anymore.